I don't know if it's showing it. Do you
Us
see it?
apart. Well,
Okay.
we're not going to be forced apart, but the galaxies are.
Okay, you say that you haven't been rubbing any of that baby shampoo on your head, have you? With the THC in it?
Well,
no?
I'm no
You're
comment.
clean?
No comment.
You're clean? Leave me a hair sample. We'll check it later. All right. So, okay, you say there are 3 different types of nothing.
That's right.
What are the 3? I didn't know there was such a variety.
Yeah,
a sampler platter of
I would have thought you'd be an expert on it, but
on
in any
nothingness?
case,
Yes.
In any case, there's 3 different kinds of nothing. First, empty space, which I'd say is probably the nothing of the Bible, an eternal, dark, empty void.
Do you mean like a true hard vacuum? That would be that's nothing that you're talking about.
Most people would have thought that would be nothing.
That's what I think nothing is.
And then I
also
tell you that,
Baltimore.
but then if I tell you that kind of nothing actually is unstable, if you wait long enough, that kind of nothing will always produce particles.
Wow,
But
by saying that it will.
If you wait long enough, the laws of quantum mechanics tell us that particles will burp out of empty space and eventually fill up a universe. It's really remarkable.
To me, that sounds like the empty space may be empty to us, but it is some sort of sheath or membrane between us and some other reality.
No, there's nothing. Well, there's absolutely nothing there until there's something.
What's the second type of nothing?
Okay, well then if you don't buy that, then I can say, well, you might say, well, that's not nothing because there's space.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out if you apply quantum mechanics to gravity, then in fact space itself becomes dynamical, and universes, spaces themselves, and time can pop into existence where there was none before.
So in some theoretical end space, before the moment of creation, there can be no time and no space and no energy?
And no energy. Zero
energy. And then suddenly, from nowhere and from nothing, comes something and somewhere.
And all sorts of stuff, and it sounds like the ultimate free lunch, and
yes,
it is.
It is.
It is, and it really, and what's remarkable is it's possible without any supernatural shenanigans.
But listen, stop with that.
Why?
Why is what you're doing, whatever this is, because obviously, because I am not in the priesthood, I can't understand the scrawls on the blackboards you people down at, where are you?
Well, that's why I wrote the book, so you could.
Where are you? You're Arizona State.
Arizona State.
Okay, you priests of theoretical physics, you can explain to each other what you mean with your language of math, and I have to take that on faith.
No, in fact, you should be skeptical.
I am.
And in fact, you should, I know. And that's why you should, that's why I tried to provide the arguments in the book.
But I will never read it. So, why other people should, you should buy it.
Buying it is important.
Buying is good.
Yeah,
okay. But why does what you're saying have to be an attack on my God?
It doesn't have to be an attack.
But that's all you've done. You've attacked my God for the last 6 minutes.
No, you have. All I've said is you don't need him.
That's an attack.
No,
of course we are here to love God,
the universe,
serve God.
as we understand it, we've changed our minds about the universe. We've learned that the universe is more remarkable than anything we ever thought before. And in fact, changing your mind and in fact being wrong is wonderful. You should try it sometime. It's really amazing. It means that the fact that the universe is more remarkable than the fairy tales that were talked about by Bronze Age literate peasants before we knew the Earth orbited the Sun.
You're not attacking at all, but go ahead.
No, but I mean,
but Leslie, so you believe there's no God?
I don't even use the word believe. The point is there is
no God.
There's no need for God.
Is there God? Is there God?
It's
what would you say?
There's no evidence for God.
Okay.
There's no evidence for God.
So let me ask something. If there is no God, okay, if there is no thing called God, if he is nothing, can't something come from him? Lawrence Krauss, thank you so much. Lawrence
You
Krauss,
can't say
the
nothing
universe
after that,
from God. We'll be right back.
You can't say
He
nothing.
said the universe from God. He did that.
Right. He said, if God is nothing, couldn't something come from him?
That reminds me of China McClain explaining the existence of God because somebody questioned her. How did God come into existence?
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. When they asked that question, where did God come from? And it's like, y'all, that's the reason why you can never understand. Because you keep thinking about some God. And yes, it can't work if it's a God that can be created. That type of God wouldn't work with the model. So it's like you'll never get it. Like no type of evidence will convince you because you're like, is it scientifically proven?
Right.
No, it can't be because it's God.
Right.
Well, you're just guessing. Yeah, but you're just accepting to not have the best possible answer. You're just, well, we'll just go with nothing. It's like, but there's a possible answer that's actually an answer. It's like, what is? I always ask people like, all right, you got God, and then you have the nothing people that want to create God and some with some nothing title, basically, but they just call it nothing. And then what other option is there? Aliens, logically impossible. Nature didn't exist yet. It couldn't make itself because it didn't exist. What else do you have? And people say like Mother Nature. I'm like, Mother Nature is still
Sun
nature.
God.
Is nature actually a woman? Or are you just calling it Mother Nature? Like nature, Mother Nature is nature. So it's like nature could not physically make itself because nature doesn't exist yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's like saying, hey guys, if you give me enough time to prove it, I'll prove to you that I gave birth to my own mother. It's like, you can't, that's like, you're going by the scientific method. There's no better answer than saying, hey, let's step outside of the natural for a second and say that it must be some super. When we look at a magician and we don't know how to do the trick, we can say, there may be some way to do it, but sometimes you gotta be like, at least consider like maybe it's demons, maybe he's using witchcraft, maybe it's possible. You got certain magicians that don't even believe in God, but
Of
they'll
course.
say there's dark magic. It's like, what do
Mhm.
you believe in dark magic, but you don't believe in God?
Right.
That means
Right.
we're screwed. There's only darkness and there's no good.
Make no sense.
It's just I try so hard. That's my question now. There's always some question in the back of my mind when I'm talking to atheists. First, it was like, um, what was it? It was like, all right, how did we get here? Basically, that was my question. How did we get here? And they're like, well, you're using God of the gaps. It's like, I mean, you're using I don't know of the gaps. Like this is the on a scale of probability. Like, what is a better answer than God? Like we don't have to say like Ashley is right. Yes, there's a God, he exists. Fine. We don't have to say that. My own relationship with God can be my confirmation. But for you, on a scale of probability, this magician, David Blaine, can put a tube through his hand. Medically, that's impossible. Like, okay, well, we ruled out science. We ruled out every possibility. Can he train his body to do that? We can go to the Buddhists to see if it's possible. If that can't be it, let's consider demons. Is that the best possible answer we have right now? Yeah. I'm going to go with that until there's a better answer. It don't mean that I got to die on the hill that David Blaine is using witchcraft, but I'm just saying like that's my guess. That's what Christians have the ability to do. We can say I'm going to assume that God is real for the time being because it's the most probable answer. And I'm going to worship him like he's real and see where it leads me. Atheists can't do that because they stuck on science mode and they can't consider like, well, maybe there's something out. They can consider evolution, that we have a common ancestor with the ape. They can consider that as just a theory. There's no, you can't observe millions of years of, are you crying, bro? It's a revelation you
Now I got contacts on,
Nah,
so
just
my
like
eyes are getting
uh,
watery.
but you can't observe millions of years of evolution to even know if that's true. There's no way you could actually observe this happening. You believe
Right.
in the number infinity. You've never seen an infinite amount of anything. But you can't believe in an infinite God. You can believe in particles coming from nothing, but you don't have any evidence of that because there's no evidence that something came from nothing. You don't have. I used to try to be charitable and say, well, I'm basing mine on supernatural, and you're basing yours on chance. So the chances of that happening are it's more probable for our view. But I was like, that's too charitable, because the chances of what you're saying happening are zero. Something can't come from nothing. It's impossible. There's no chance it could be your view. There's only this. There's no other possible. All we're saying, we're not even saying hey guys, the only possible answer is Jesus, that's God, that's the answer. It's like, no, what we're saying is you have to consider the traits that are outside of nature. You have to consider something outside of nature made nature, brought nature into being, something chose to bring us here. That's essentially what we're saying when we say God. But you're like, no, let's think of another answer. It's like, bro, you can't get around those traits. You gonna say nature? It has to. All we're saying is something outside of nature brought nature into existence. What was it? Oh, it was a portal. Okay, what? Okay, what came on the other side of that portal, and what brought that into existence? We still got the same issue. So, yeah, man, I don't know.
It's like every time I see these, I just I wonder like why people are so hesitant. And like I understand the skepticism for sure, but it's like you had to be there. It's like a really funny joke. You had to be there. Like
Yeah, they
for the
said
creation of the world, like we wasn't there, but something was there. Something had to have witnessed it. And that something, or not even witnessed it, did something to make it happen. And so I see a lot of these videos, and to your point, every single time it just traces back to there being a God. It's almost like we're getting caught in a wording war. And so like I could easily be like, yeah, I'll just call that thing that created, like spoke into existence. I could call that nothing.
nothing that became particles that became the universe.
No, I could call it nothing easily. Like if I
Yeah.
wrote the Bible, I could have said, instead of putting God right there, I could have put nothing.
That's
And
it.
then you know what I'm saying? I could have
Yeah.
been like, nothing spoke and nothing created.
That would
the
be
If it was up to a
so-
You know what I
scientist,
mean?
yeah.
like
Like,
that
well-
would help. They would. I bet all of them would convert if I was to just change that word and just say,
For nothing. And
Like,
then they
well,
start worshiping nothing.
and they worship it in spirit and in truth. They would do it. I'm telling you, it's just. I think it's just a word.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so and that means it's definitely something that's emotional. It's more so like I don't like the way that God is handling things. Like that's really in deep down, it's like, bro, that's gotta be it. Like, what do you mean? There's no evidence that there's a God. It's like, wait a minute. As a scientist, shouldn't you go with the most probable answer? You have to go with the answer that's inside of science? Well, then you're just gonna forever be stuck in I don't knowism.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, okay, fine.
You got to tap in your spiritual
you want to
knowledge.
choose the I don't knowism because you're not gonna get another answer besides. I mean, we've been here for a long time.
Right.
What 4.3 million, however long the scientists say, we've been here for that long. I mean, I say, all right, let me give y'all some grace. The humans have been here, for 6,000 years, whatever.
Right.
And we still haven't figured out what it is. Can't you safely assume that it's like, let's go with this because the other answers you can still try to study that out, figure it out. You can still study that. But like, why would you not give this very probable answer a chance? If I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to learn Spanish, I'm gonna be like, I still don't know how to quantify the best way. So I'm gonna say I'm not gonna study Spanish. It's like, no, study Spanish, bro. Do it. Like you'll figure out what the best way is along. I'm not gonna work out because I don't know what the best form is. Bro, you're gonna be stuck in the past then. You're just you're gonna have less answers, but you could have a connect. That's why I say like the way to prove God is not necessarily to get the evidence. It's to tangibly grab this, to experience, to meditate, to pray, go out in the woods and see if something happens. Like test your fears. You know what I'm saying? Not on no stupid stuff.
Right.
I'm not
So-
telling you to jump off a cliff and see if he saves you, but
So I want to go back to something you said earlier. You were like,
oh,